It's time for the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Each week, Trading Stocks Made Easy demystifies stock trading and investing so you can profit big. And now, here's the host of Trading Stocks Made Easy, the wealthy investor, Tyrone Jackson.
Hey, it's Tyrone Jackson, a wealthy investor, and welcome back. All right. You know, I have learned how many of you actually listen to this show, and I am amazed. So I have to extend a personal thank you to you. I was coming out of a hotel in New York City, and when I go to the airport, I have a driver, and the driver put me in the back of the car, and I was actually falling asleep. I was going from New York to LA. The driver says, you know, you're the first celebrity we've had in the car. I've had in my car all day. And I said, well, that's very nice of you, except I'm not really a celebrity. He goes, yeah, you're Tyrone Jackson, a wealthy investor, and I listen to your podcast. So just like that, I guess maybe I'm sort of kind of famous or becoming famous or something. Whether I'm famous or not, the most important thing is that I get to spend a little time with you. Hey, you know, today's show is really exciting. I have someone on the show today who I really, really admire and get a kick out of. And he is a doctor. That's right, a real life doctor. And he's a clinician, as he says to me, and he's also an administrator. He runs the emergency room at a very, very big hospital, and he's here to share some of his trading and investment secrets. Now that I've embarrassed him, he's got a big old smile on his face. And the doctor actually has a cold today.
Yes.
Which is great.
A little hoarse.
Yes, a little hoarse. So do the best you can. This guy's playing hurt, ladies and gentlemen.
Yes.
But he's here to share his trading and investment secrets with you. And I want to officially welcome Schubert Perott to the show. Hello there.
Hello.
All right. Now, you were on another episode with one of our roundtables, right?
Yes, that is correct.
So you're on with a bunch of people. And for whatever reason, you've decided to come back into the recording studio with me.
Why not?
And share even more of your wisdom.
Absolutely. I can help. Wherever I can help is all good.
All right. Now, I was talking about you during the intro, and I said that you're a medical doctor, and you're also the head of an entire emergency room. Is that right?
Yes, I am the chairman and medical director of an emergency department.
Yes. Can we say the name of the hospital?
We can.
Okay.
I don't know whether we can or cannot.
Do you have clearance?
I do not have clearance.
Okay, so we'll just say it's a very big hospital in New York City, tri-state area. How about that?
Excellent.
All right, there we go. And then somebody will get sick or shot or stabbed, and they'll discover that it's you who's running the whole thing when they get into the emergency room. All right, so before we get into some of your trading secrets and the amount of the money that you're making in the stock market, and you're doing quite well, very disciplined trader and investor, let's go back just a little bit so the audience gets to know you. Your father was an immigrant, is that right?
That is correct.
From Haiti, is that correct?
Yes, that is correct.
So tell us that story.
So my dad arrived to the United States with no real formal education. And, you know, he knew about the trades. He was an electrician. He did some carpentry. He knew how to work. He knew how to paint and redo floors, a lot of the trades. And so he worked at a hotel where when something goes wrong, they call someone and he comes in and he fixes it, repairs, or if it's beyond repair, they replace it. So what he did with that early on is that he was told that real estate was the way to really make money in this country. Mm-hmm. And so he now saved all his money and then went on to purchase a small home, which he rented out with multiple families, and he did all the repairs. Mm-hmm. And from there, he grew his investment, grew his capital, continued to work, and then bought an apartment building and continued to do those things. He basically came to the conclusion that real estate was going to be the place to really make money and to be able to retire sooner rather than later. And in that process, he really came to the conclusion that for his children was going to follow a very different path because there's a lot of headaches, even though he was doing this now full time and stopped working at the hotels. But now the path for us was going to be very, very different. And in his knowledge of reading the newspaper and going through things, he really discovered that the stock market was really going to be the key. And he said, you guys, when you grow up, you're going to make a lot of money, but the stock market is really going to be your real estate gain.
Which was tremendously fortuitous.
Tremendously unbelievable.
I don't know how he knew that. Now, here's the part for me that is the kicker. your brother is also a doctor.
Yes, he is.
Yes.
He is a doctor.
And he's taken a little bit more of the research route, right? He's not practicing medicine the way that you are.
That is correct. He's at another large, notable institution, and he's doing some fascinating research and likes to trade in the stock market as well.
Yes, he does. So you both have that in common. So your father says to you, hey, this real estate thing, I'm doing it. I do it full time. I manage our properties, but you're really going to make your money in the stock market.
You know, when you're a child and your dad does something you really want to follow in your parents' footsteps, you're like, well, why? You have the blueprint. You've already done it. But my dad was determined. He said, this is not the path for you.
Okay.
The stock market is where you're going to be.
And why do you think your father felt that it was going to be more stocks and less real estate for you guys?
Because when he and you know, even without any formal education, my dad was one of those guys who would come home at night and really read the paper from cover to cover. And in reading the finance section, he knew that the money that people were making both here and internationally was in the stock market. And he's like, these guys are doing something very different and they don't have to work as hard. And my sons really can't be bothered with the headaches because he's like, real estate comes with a lot of headaches.
Yes, it does.
And you need to get in and get out. And the only way to do that is in the stock market.
Okay. Now, you and I have shared this story several times. My father used to help minority businesses back in the 60s get government funding, grants, low interest loans, things like that. I was fascinated by what he did because he used to talk about being able to help people and helping them get millions and millions of dollars. But he was the one who said to me at some point, because I bought my first piece of real estate because that's what I saw on late night books and tapes, late night TV commercials, bought the books and tapes. And then my father said, no. You want to go into the stock market. And my father, like your father, just read constantly. So he just would get the newspaper and read over and over and over. And I guess somewhere along the line, he got the idea that real multimillionaires are made in the stock market. So when I start out with a piece of real estate, he was like, no, I think the stock market is for you. So we have to be enormously grateful for both of them.
Absolutely.
Because in whatever wisdom that they had, two men presumably who never knew each other, they saw that for both of us.
The forecast was crazy.
Yeah.
It's still crazy now.
Yeah, it's still crazy now. So my father's no longer with us, but I'm sure he looks down and he goes, that's my boy.
Exactly.
And I'm told he even listens to the podcast. So I got that going for me as well. All right. So let's dive a little bit deeper into your story because it's just really fascinating. Tell the audience once again how we met. I believe you were at a self-help seminar with someone who was also happened to be in my program.
Correct. So probably about 5 years ago, I took this course called Landmark Education, which is supposed to really sort of drive you to elevate yourself, elevate your life in different areas. And, I had expressed that, I'm looking for a place to invest my money and have it grow without me having to do the work. And I don't mind working, but I knew that the path to wealth was going to be spend the hours, working in the 9 to 5. So, he invited me. He happened to just be coming to this wealthy artist, bring a friend. And that's what it was back in the day.
It started the Wealthy Artist program.
And I showed up and, there was this guy, Tyrone Jackson, giving his speech. And I thought to myself, wow, this is it right here. And, you go back and forth, your emotions play with you. And I thought to myself, well, I got to give it a shot. You got to start somewhere. So I was like, I even brought my wife back. It's like, what do you think about this guy?
Right.
Tyrone Jackson. And she says, well, listen, you got to start somewhere. I think he's okay. I would sign up for the program. It's not my thing. I don't really like numbers. I don't know anything about the stock market, but you really like it, so I think you should try it.
Okay.
And I gave it a shot, and I've been here since.
Well, let me ask you this, because you are now a 6-figure trader. So let me ask you this. What was it that spoke to you about the market? And clearly you saw the financial opportunity because it is just great. Do you recall in your early days, what was it that actually pulled you into it?
Well, I knew I had to get started. I was sitting in class and, we would talk about the trades. I'd open an account. I put some money in the account. And I didn't do anything for 3 months and really sort of waited, watched. And I took that first step and I sold a covered call. And I didn't even know the next day, it was like the money was there. And I was like, wait a minute, I thought I was gonna have to wait 30 days and then I would get the money, but the money was there. And I was like, wow, I just made money just like that. And you were like, yes, just like that. It was like, wow, this is the way I'm gonna do it in the future. This is the way that I'm gonna free myself from having to work a lot of hours and live my life.
Very good. So you understood the enormity of it after just buying one stock and selling one call option. Now, the name of this podcast is Trading Stocks Made Easy. Did you believe that it could be that easy to initially begin to make money?
I had no clue, and I just couldn't believe it. When I really started getting into it and starting really to do it on a regular basis, I would say to myself, good God, I can't believe it's this easy with a click of a button to make money. It's unbelievable. And as time went by, I was just like, wow, you just have to grow this to scale. And, if you have this amount in your account now and you're making money off of it, if you have more money, you can do more. You can make more. And you don't really have to take on a significant amount of risk.
That is correct. And so one of the things that you have as a strength, I can tell you, is you're very, very disciplined. So you took funds from your weekly paycheck or monthly paycheck, and you started to grow your account that way, right? And people don't want to hear that, like, it actually took you some discipline. They want to hear that it was just this magical thing. But the reality is, because you started to see that instead of trading 100 shares, if you were trading 300 shares or 500 or 700, the money comes in, the profit happens even faster. You started putting money into your account.
Yep.
Right.
And it happens like that for any investment. When you put in your time and you really sort of take your time a little bit and you just watch and pay attention, and then slowly but surely the account started to grow, started to get larger. And I'm like, wow, I could really, really rock this. And the sky's the limit.
Right.
And I really had no one telling me that I couldn't do it.
Right.
And that this money couldn't be made. So I just told myself, hey, listen, whatever I can do, I'm just gonna do it and stay in discipline. And of course, I get out of discipline like everybody else every now and then, but overall, my success in this game has really been staying really sort of tight in the trade.
Yes, and we talk a lot about trading, but one of the things that we don't talk enough about on this show is investing. Now, there are stocks that you also hold for the long term, right?
Yep.
And those stocks actually appreciating in value or going up in value, they actually play a part in your wealth as well, correct?
Absolutely. One thing that you have taught us from the beginning is the dividend checks. And we learned about yield. And I'm looking at some of these stocks, particularly like AT&T, Verizon, and I'm like, man, cell phones are not going away.
Right.
And they're actually taking over. In due time, I really got to make sure that I sit in these stocks because the dividend checks are unbelievable.
Yes.
And when they get delivered to the house, my wife is the first one to take a dividend checks.
How much money are we making, honey? It's like,
Yes.
well, we didn't do anything, but AT&T sent us a check. You have the check sent home. That's what I always suggest.
Yes, I do.
Okay. Oh, so you can open it and there's the proof.
Yes, the proof is right there in the pudding. I'm like, yes, this is what we're going to do today. And my wife has a lot more plans for the money than I do.
I bet she does.
And I'm like, hold on.
Didn't you tell me you were somewhere with your family and you took and you were like, I took everybody to like a dividend dinner or something?
Yes.
Uh-huh.
We took the whole family out to North Carolina for a week. And, we rented a home and, part of our investment was used to pay for part of that vacation.
Right.
And I'm like, honey, this is the best way to vacation. I'm taking everybody out to eat tonight, and this is on AT&T.
That is correct, because we all love those plump dividends.
They're wonderful.
Okay, we're going to jump into, we got to take a commercial here, but we're going to jump in. Since you are a six-figure trader, you have 3 secrets that you'd like to share with our audience as to why you have gotten to this level of success and what you think it actually takes to get there. You'll share those with us after this break?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll be right back with Schubert Perott right after you listen to this.
You're listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Want to learn more about how to trade and invest in the stock market? Visit thewealthyinvestor.net/products. That's thewealthyinvestor.net/products and order the Wealthy Investor's Guide to Stock Market Success audio series. This easy-to-follow 5-CD audio series and manual will teach you the basics of how to buy and sell stocks, how to collect quarterly dividends for life, plus hidden income generating strategies like covered call writing and volatility trading. Start creating financial freedom right now. Get the financial education you need to get ahead. Visit thewealthyinvestor.net/products.
All right, well, welcome back to Trading Stocks Made Easy. Hey, listen, you can always follow my trades online if you're not in a market like New York or LA at witradeschool.com, witradeschool.com. People are amazed that they're able to follow all of my major strategies there. They're all in video, and I post new hot stocks every single week, and you can send me your questions. And guess what? I answer them inside witradeschool.com. So start your membership there today. All right. We were talking about before the break, we were talking about talking to Schubert Perott, who is a doctor, a clinician, a theologian. I could just throw anything after your name.
Why not?
You're like the head of an emergency room and you're 41 years old.
41 years old.
What are you going to do in the next 10 years? Are you going to run for president?
Why not?
We could really use you right now. You know that, right?
We could use anybody right now.
I'm just putting it out there. And then that way, you decide whatever it is. No pressure. You're making so much money in the stock market. Who wants to be president, right?
Exactly. Who wants that headache?
Exactly. Okay. So you are a 6-figure trader and you probably will continue to make, above 100,000 every year for the rest of your life because you're so good at discipline. If I asked you to share with our audience 3 things that you think are important to getting to making $100,000 or more in the stock market, your response would be what?
My first response is that it does not happen overnight. And if you think it's going to happen overnight, you got it all wrong because it takes time, it takes discipline, and it really requires you to just be patient because you'll just trade in a much better way if you just take your time. And my first initial investment when I came into trading in the stock market was money that was not allocated for anything. It wasn't an emergency fund. It was just money that I saved and I just put aside just for investing. And so that money wasn't stressing me out. I wasn't using it to pay bills and, it wasn't taking away from anyone or anything that it was dedicated for. And that money just sat there. And then I slowly but surely put some more money in there. Just like I put in $10 for my savings account, I put in a $10 into my investing account. Yes, I may spend less on frivolous things, but I knew I was investing now into my future.
Right. Well, you put a lot more than $10 in.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, okay.
Absolutely.
But let me also say this. So you're saying, I've heard it expressed this way, you would only initially start investing with money that you could afford to lose.
Correct.
Okay. So that's a fair characterization of your point of view.
Mm-hmm. My number 2 strategy would be to really stay in stocks that are safe stocks. They're not home run hitters. They're not penny stocks. They're really stocks with growth potential, and I understand really their story. And so I feel safe and confident. Whatever happens to them, I know I'm going to be just fine in the future. And the third strategy is I really am an investor in the market. I'm not just a trader for a good while. Any profit that I would make, I would put it back into the market. I would buy long-term dividend-paying stocks. So I would say that's number 3.
Right. And that is great. So the idea, number 1, money that you can afford to lose. Not that we're going to lose our money, but you're not looking for, the first $10,000 you put into your account to immediately start supporting your entire lifestyle.
Correct.
Okay. Number 2, I like to express it as Dow and S&P 500 stocks, right? We're not going into some penny stocks.
And we're not going into some weird stock that we don't have any clue or any IPOs.
Right. And your third secret is to reinvest the profits from your trades into long-term holds, if you will.
Yep, long-term dividend-paying stocks, because those just grow out of the blue. And you're like, where did that profit come from?
Right.
And it's just there just because you were disciplined enough to stay in there.
Right. Now, let me ask you this because we're quickly running out of time. Why do you think so many people who enter the stock market fail? Like they trade or invest for 3 months and they go, this is not for me.
They don't have a strategy. They really come in thinking they're going to have $100 invested today and they're going to make $1,000 tomorrow. And it can happen, but it's rare. It's very, very rare. It really is a steady Eddie consistency that takes time. And with time, you're going to get the reward. The stock market will reward you every single time if you stay disciplined.
Yeah, that's really, really super. And you and I were talking before the show, there are many life lessons I've learned when it comes to being successful. In fact, if you want to be successful in the stock market, real estate, I feel like you have to learn the game, right? So in other words, I've been saying this a lot when I've been speaking publicly, like there are 8 ways to win at Monopoly. And if you just Google how to win at Monopoly, someone has discovered those 8 ways, right? So there's nothing that we're doing as stock market traders and investors that are so brilliant other than following the wealthy investor approach, of course.
Absolutely.
Right, which is a winning system that I created. So I created it so that people could win and win big. So I love it when people play Monopoly and have no ideas what the rules are. So how are you going to win? Like, how are you going to win at tic-tac-toe if you don't know how to play the corners? Like, everybody knows you play the corners.
You'll play the outside first.
Right, exactly.
Set it up.
Well, it's the same thing when it comes to the stock market. If you understand the rules, and the more that you understand the rules, and there are many, you increase the odds that you are going to win, that you pick winning stocks that rise in value, and then you have that balance between trading and investing. Your account over time has to do well because you have a winning, proven strategy.
Yes. I mean, I really have to make the point as well that if you do this on your own, you're really flying by the seat of your pants. You're going to need to be with a team of people or a mentor or a good teacher like Tyrone that really places things in perspective and just brings you the winners. And you have to decide amongst all these winners, which one best suits you. And I don't think it's not really a better place to be.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely super. And one other thing that I think a lot of people miss is that the market is always changing. So one of the stocks that I love for 15 years was McDonald's, ticker symbol MCD. Consumer eating habits and where they're spending their money when it comes to fast foods is very different. So therefore, the revenue that used to come into the McDonald's Corporation is just not there. There are other stocks in that space that you can actually own. So the market is always changing as the world is always changing.
Yep.
Okay. Any final words of advice that you would give our listening audience or leave them with some final words of wisdom?
My final words of wisdom is to come into the stock market. You got to start. You know, I'm a tiptoe kind of guy. I'm not a leap in the water kind of guy. And that's what keeps your investment safe. But to some degree, you got to take some risk somewhere. And when you start, it's going to be really hard to stop. Stay in discipline and you will do just fine.
Words to live by. And the doctor was sick today. What is your prescription for yourself here, my friend?
Just a little TLC. That's all.
Just a little TLC.
My wife is going to take care of that as soon as I get home.
I got to get a wife.
You got to get a wife.
Hey, thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Will you come back and do another episode with us?
Absolutely. No problem. Anytime.
And thank you for those secrets.
Appreciate it.
Hey, that music is telling me just like a call option, my time is about to expire. Do you get that? If you don't, well, you got to learn a little bit more about how the market works. This is Tyrone Jackson, the Wealthy Investor, saying, I hope you got a little something from this episode that encourages you along your journey. And if you didn't, I'll see you next time right here on Trading Stocks Made Easy.
You've been listening to the Trading Stocks Made Easy podcast. Be sure to rate and review our show on iTunes. While you're on iTunes, be sure to click the subscribe button and you'll automatically receive our next episode.